What is up? It is the very first live stream lounge. And right now we are broadcasting to Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, of all places, and Twitch, which I really need help on Twitch. So if you're watching this, please help me out. Let me know. Like, I don't even know. James, do you know what giving people chips are on Twitch?
I have a vague idea about it because I've received chips. I've never given them.
Well, and you know what, we should say hi, James. So go ahead and show yourself. And I was just asking before we started. That's a really cool shirt. Is that something you got for Christmas or anything?
Oh, actually, no. This came from a site called Into the AM.
Okay.
It's real cool. It had like reflective silver on it.
And that was cool. I dig that. Super cool. Into the AM. That's kind of like me and you. After every time we make a video, we hang out into the AM after these, which is so cool. As for me, I'm kind of casual today, but this I got for Christmas, a Christmas gift, and these pajama pants. James, you just have to feel the wonders of these pants. Just feel.
Oh wow!
Right?
It's like petting a baby hamster.
I mean, I want to wear these almost, and they feel amazing on the inside. I almost want to wear them inside out so that I can, like, it just feels so good. Anyway, we got a lot that we are going over today, so we're going to get the party started. I guess I will make drinks first, but just to give you guys a heads up of what's on the agenda for today. We are going to be giving a mini tour of the live stream lounge, kind of what's going on here. Not an extensive tour of all of these studios and stuff that I have, just a little tour of the kind of the creative playground that I have going on here. Then James doesn't know this yet, I don't think, but we are going to try, since James and I are both connoisseurs of sushi, we are going to try sushi candy.
What?
Yeah, so we'll see where I'm going to bust that out, and I'm curious what's I love sushi. I don't know that I would like sushi candy, but you know what? I gave sushi a fair shot and I love it. It's actually my favorite food now. I never knew that I liked sushi. Who knew?
That's insane.
And now it's my fave. But sushi candy, I'm not sure. But also a gift that I got for Christmas. So we're going to put it to the test tonight, James. But most of all, what we are going to talk about tonight, because this live stream lounge, I think the common thread is creatives. And I think whether you're an artist or an animator or a musician or a filmmaker or a writer, I think one of the common threads that we all have, whether we're already professional or whether we are on the road to becoming professional, I think a common thing that we like chatting about a lot is, it's an earthquake over here where we've got some gimbal issues. But I think the common thread that we have is we like chatting about what we can do to live our best lives, doing what we love, and how to make a career out of it, how to take what we love and be able to put a roof over our head, how to put food on the table. And so I think that's going to be a common thread that we're going to have a lot, but really it's going to go anywhere that you guys want it to go. If I'm sure the conversation will dip into things like Star Wars and pop culture, and of course Aladdin 3477. The topic tonight is your Magnum Opus. And I'm curious where you guys are with your Magnum Opus. Do you even know what a Magnum Opus is? We're going to talk about it tonight. But first, before we get any of the party started, I think we need to start with these. And these were glasses I just got from my birthday. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, Wolf got these for me, I think. And look at, there's little, it's hard. I already put the ice in, but there's impressions of, you can't really, maybe you can see them, of these skulls. But when you drink and get to the bottom, the skulls look really cool when you're looking at the glass. I already put the ice in there, though. So here we go. The usual, James?
The usual?
Oh, yes. So here we go. Do you want coffee in yours, or do you just want the regular usual?
No.
You don't want to water it down with coffee?
No,
Oh, you do want coffee?
Yeah, I do want coffee.
Oh, all right.
I was gonna
Do I
say,
have one here?
Ask him if I even want the coffee. No, my pants just got 6 inches shorter because I hated the idea.
So here's what I'm going to do. I am going to run upstairs and grab a coffee. James, in the meantime, you need to flip that around and you need to entertain everyone with if you I don't know if you could set the gimbal that you could do your dance, perhaps. Your dance, you know, when you do your little swishes and stuff.
It's usually an ignition remix kind of thing.
I don't know. I'm gonna run grab a coffee, a cold coffee, and then we'll get these drinks rocking and rolling.
Well, that's.
James, you better be dancing.
Oh, I'm so dancing.
Oh my gosh, you are dancing.
At the gyrating.
Oh my gosh.
You're not doing it properly. It's got to be one fluid circle.
There you go. Wow, that's you're so good at that, James. All right, so here we go. We are starting with a little bit of Kirkland cold brew coffee. A little bit for me, a little bit for you. That looks good. A little more for later. And next up, we rock it out with a little bit of Irish cream. A little bit for me.
Have you heard from Wolf lately?
Yeah, he sent me today. He just texted me 2 Star Wars jokes. And I had not heard them before. Usually when people send me, you know, memes or Star Wars stuff, I've seen them all 200 times already. But he sent me 2 jokes that I had not heard before. And one of them was, where do stormtroopers like to shop?
Where?
Next to the, oh, I don't have a thing. All right. Next to the store right next to the store right next to Target. Wah, wah.
Okay, I hope everyone got that.
And then the second one was, what is Darth Vader and Luke Skywalker's favorite store?
Where?
Secondhand shop. Where is, I thought I had, oh, it's right here. So now we are giving a little splash of peanut butter schnapps. And I know it sounds weird, like putting peanut butter in your coffee. You know what? Is there anything peanut butter isn't good on? Seriously.
Spaghetti.
I would eat it on spaghetti. I would do it.
All right, I'm going to make you a peanut sauce. I'm going to give it to Casey, and then I'm going to have her make spaghetti, and then you're going to tell me how delicious it is. Actually, no. That means I'd have to try to make it delicious.
And then this is just 0 calorie skinny syrup. It's salted caramel. It's the best flavor they got. This also, I know, like, wow, you're really going to mix all of that? Listen, this is the stuff right here. It's the magic concoction. We're going to give a little stir. There we go. This is stirred, not shaken. And then
I might not be classy enough to really know the difference, but when James Bond would always say, shaken, not stirred, does it matter?
I'm sure it does. Oh, absolutely. Oh, absolutely. Yeah, it absolutely does. For certain drinks. I don't know enough to know.
No, I mean, like for this.
Oh, it might make if you shake it. There's some things where like the cream, the Irish cream might go to the bottom more, and if you shake it, it might not mix thoroughly as much as when you stir it. But there are other drinks where I think it's better to shake it and not stir it. I am not the person to ask. Paul Michael Caine would know because he is the ultimate James Bond connoisseur, among other amazing things. Yeah, he is really cool. Cheers, James. All right. And with that, it is time to get the party started. I should have had this queued up sooner. And here we go. All right, so what should we do first? First, we should open it up to comments. Is anyone? There are some comments. Woohoo! And let's see here. This was hi, Maddie and James. Oh my gosh, look at all these comments. That's amazing. That is so cool. And it's my mom. Oh my gosh, Anthony, Kimberly. Sweet MTV, yes, of course. Yuck, Kim, I am telling you, this drink is amazing. Oh, maybe she was talking about the sushi candy, which we are going to get to right next. And PMK is watching. Awesome. So cool. And Paul, I don't know if you noticed, but there was a certain photo that had a number 3 on it that I unveiled yesterday. And most of the photo was taken by you. Don't know if you caught that or not. Let's see. Peanut butter on mayo wouldn't be great. Would it not?
It'd be smoother again.
I don't know. I guess. I mean, I would have to. Honestly, I would have to try it. I'm so weird about. There's a lot of things I don't like, and then for anything that I do like, I don't know that there's a lot that I like that you couldn't mix and match.
Well, Eric did say that he wanted me to have a YouTube thing where I was just trying random things that people usually wouldn't want to.
We are going to do that tonight, James. They do look good. They are delicious. The PMK says that drink is making my teeth hurt just watching you make it. You know what? That hasn't caught up with me yet, but I'm sure someday it will. Oh, and we should ask PMK if does it actually make a difference to have something if you had something stirred and not shaken, or shaken and not stirred? Because Paul would know. First, as a connoisseur of making really good cocktails,
really,
I know Paul is good at that, and because he knows James Bond more than anyone that I know, he would know. Oh my gosh, Tracy Wayne Surgeoner, kissing hands and shaking babies. Tracy, is it true that Elvis said that once, or is that just something that people just kind of goof on, that he screwed up a lot of things? I'm curious if he, because you're supposed to say shaking hands and kissing babies, but apparently he was, I don't know if he was dyslexic, but he often just got his words kind of jumbled up. That's great. Tracy and I used to say that all the time during the Planet Matt World Tour. Sitting down at the drawing board on Sunday nights are usually super boring. Awesome. That's fantastic, David. And that's the whole point of this. I wanted to have a hangout with y'all. I feel like Sunday nights are a good night where usually we've got the weekend behind us, and then we usually have a deadline. Like, oh crap, for artists, Monday morning is usually when something is due. So Sunday nights are usually work nights. So I thought this would be cool to do. Hello. Peanut butter. My mom says peanut butter and mayo on celery sticks. All right. And Terry says try peanut butter on tomato slices. It's good. My old boss made me try it. Peanut butter. I'm weird about tomato slices, but there was something that I thought of. I know my dad likes ketchup on his eggs. I think there are a lot of people that like that.
A lot of interesting people out there.
All right. Tracy says Elvis Trooper, absolutely correct. On a deadline for tomorrow morning. I hear that. I was going to give a tour of this place real quick. Should we do that now, or should we do the sushi? Should we try some sushi first?
Let's try the sushi. Why not? We already have the candy drinks.
And we're already talking about weird things to drink and eat. So I got this for Christmas, and this is normally 2 things that I would absolutely love because I love sushi And there isn't much candy I don't like. I'm not really a fan of coconut in candy. So Mounds and Almond Joy, I'm not really a fan of, but gummy sushi. We are about to try this out. Are you ready? James, have you had this before?
Not to my knowledge.
Not to your knowledge. So when you were unconscious, someone may have force fed you.
Anytime I'm not awake,
oh my
I cannot confirm.
What is that? This looks so, it looks so scary, but if it's all just like gummy candy, it's probably pretty, well, these are sticking to the top of that. Is that, oh, and those are probably just gummy fish, right?
One would hope. Oh, actually, it's
and maybe, is that a marshmallow? I don't know. All right, James, there's, for most of these, there's two, and I have a knife that we can cut some of these in half. At least I think I have a knife.
Well, that looks like a sour strip. That looks like a gummy bear.
Here we go.
That just looks like ass.
Let's see here. All right, which one do we start with? What's the one that looks the least scary? Maybe these two?
Probably.
All right, are you hot pink or are you neon green?
Well, I mean, it's after 7, so let's go hot pink.
I was going to say neon green is what I would like. Help yourself. I'm going to do the neon green. All right, it's wrapped. It's very sticky. Now you just, the whole thing, right?
Yeah.
There's no nibbling.
One bite. Everybody knows the rules.
All right. I mean, I like it. It's very sweet. It's incredibly sweet. I mean, I like sweet, but that's like, whoa. It's like sugar on top of sugar on top of sugar.
Sour, honestly.
I wonder if mine was sweet and yours was sour. Or is it that we're drinking peanut butter candy bar drinks and then eating like straight up
it does taste
citrusy
like,
sugar.
It does taste like Reese's Puffs. So
all right. That was okay. That wasn't bad. All right, what now? Do we do like these ball covered balls? Or do we do
that one does look pretty ballsy.
Noodles?
Like, oh, noodles and more.
Exactly.
It's a cheese knife.
I don't know. It's something. Yeah, I don't know.
Oh, there are 2 of those.
Oh. I'm just trying to get it so like my fingers aren't all over your food. All right. Here we go. There's one of those for you. Now, what is this supposed to look like? Just I don't think I've had anything like this on sushi. Is this supposed to just be, it looks like a flat raspberry.
Yeah, right.
Oh, here we go. You need to flip. And then I'll do this. By the way, I got my cool Stream Deck working.
That took a while to chew through.
Yeah. That was pretty rubbery, that part.
Rubbery and not a whole lot of flavor to that one.
Yeah. All right. Next up, are we going to the balls over the balls?
I need those balls in my mouth.
Oh my gosh.
You know, in hindsight, as I said that.
So these are, so you probably hear what we're saying, but literally these are lots of, there's like tiny. So is this supposed to replicate like fish eggs or something like that? On top of one giant fish egg?
Yeah, I want to say yeah.
All right, here we go. I mean, it's kind of crunchy. I kind of like it.
I'd rather have actual fish eggs in my mouth.
It's really sugary. Like I feel like this is really
That
for
one,
like
this one-
little kids.
Just pure sugar, no
Mhm.
flavor.
Mm-hmm.
But texture is not bad because the crunchy.
All right, so now there's this weird thing. I'm gonna cut this in half.
It looks like a gummy bear on top of an apple ring, but
Yeah, it does look like that. I don't even. Sorry, I'm gonna hold on to this and see if I can.
do what you got to do.
See if I can just slice it in half this way. So James, first of all, oh my gosh, and to everyone else, I don't know if I said it yet. Happy New Year, happy holidays, Merry Christmas.
We just got done having it be the year of the tiger.
Oh, what does that flip around?
Oh yeah, it does.
And what's that? The year of?
I'm assuming it totally says tiger.
Oh, okay. This, I don't know what again, this is kind of scary. I don't know what the red, there usually isn't a lot of red in sushi, but.
I mean, if you're eating sashimi, there's a lot of red.
Is there?
Raw fish.
Oh, yeah. But I meant like tomatoes or raspberries or.
Tomatoes. If you're coming at me with tomatoes on sushi, then we are at the wrong establishment.
Anthony says, I like filled jalapeno Tabasco sauce on my breakfast. Anthony, I hope you noticed all of the photos that kind of do the quick stop motion at the beginning and the end of the live stream. Those probably look familiar to you. If you thought that any of those shots were cool, those were all taken by Anthony LaFata, an incredible photographer. With the sushi candy, it is very intriguing. Kim says, I've seen something like that at 5 and Below candy, but they have you make your own in the Asian section at Meijer. Really? Where you can make your own sushi candy? That's interesting.
That's going to be a whole other video now.
Yeah, like I feel like we need to go and make our own. Interesting. We'll do the fish ones last, but what do we do for these noodles? Just cut them in half and have at it.
Yeah.
All right. Here we go. All right. So here's 2 colored noodles. All right. Ooh. As I put more in my mouth. You know, that I'm not a fan of as much. It started like licorice, and then it went to a weird, I don't know, was it a blueberry flavor, but it
took it to
wasn't
a weird
blueberry
place.
colors.
He's like worms like post plastic surgery.
Yeah. Scott Conney, what up, boys? Scott, are you in Chicago right now? Scott has been my best friend since grade school. He's in this incredible band called Parallel Fifth, and they were playing in Chicago over the weekend. But they've been playing all kinds of cool places, Little Caesars Arena, and they have just been rocking it. Very cool. Might stand for uni, sea urchin. Interesting. The faces we're making are priceless for eating the sushi. Yeah, it's weird. At first, we don't know, or at least for me, I don't know if I like it yet. Ooh, these in a glass of bubble tea. You know, these probably wouldn't be too bad in a bubble tea. All right, so this last one, it feels like this is just a marshmallow with a gummy.
Fishy.
What are these called? The fishy gummies? Swedish fish, except it's not actual Swedish fish brand.
It does look like a goldfish, though. You got little scales.
All right. Hopefully it doesn't taste like a goldfish.
All right.
Ready? It will be a sugar high for sure. This one's really dry. The first one that had the marshmallow was actually pretty good.
Like a desert in my mouth.
I Shot First says, hey, Matt, big fan of your art tutorials. Been watching for years. I feel like my artistic abilities improved greatly because of them. Thank you so much. Awesome. Super appreciated. I love making those videos for sure. So that means the world. That's awesome. Very cool. Thank you. Dill, didn't see the opening. Yeah, you'll have to check it out after or on my YouTube channel. It's got the opening. There's an opening promo that's on my YouTube channel. It looks like we're eating Play-Doh. It feels like we're eating Play-Doh.
The fish was the best part, mostly because I like orange. So.
Scott just got back. Great seeing. We miss you too, Boombody. Can't wait to see you next time you're playing at Freddy's.
You should just jumped in his pool. I was gone.
So Kim Johansson says, so let me tell you, and she used to live in Sweden for, I think, like 17 years or something like that.
Based on.
And, you know, I never would have known, but she is here to set the record straight. Let me tell you that Swedish fish really do not come from Sweden. Would you have known that?
No, but I do know that they have these little black licorice fish gummies, but it's coated with this liquid salt. So these salty black
from Sweden?
Salty black licorice fish. My Swedish exchange friend Cecilia brought them over one time.
Okay.
And it's always good to know what other cultures are doing, even if it's not my palate.
Yeah. That's interesting. I wouldn't have known. And, you know, the few times I've been to London, I always ask questions like, do you guys have English muffins here or just muffins? And like you gotta, like they don't find that funny at all. I don't know why it's not funny or if they even know what I'm referring to, but getting a cavity proxy, just watching us eat those. Oh, and then Kim says, yes, they do have salty black fish. And then Terry says those black fish are Icelandic. Interesting. I feel like you guys know what diabetes tastes like. Yeah, that's exactly what it is. Steve, I miss you so much, man. So what I thought we would do next, we're going to talk Magnum Opus, but real quick, I want to share with you guys the Livestream Lounge, what this place looks like. This is my creative playground down here. And so let me move, still getting used to this, being able to do this quick. So I wanted to give you the lay of the land, kind of what this is all about. So this is the bar, and this was, my dad helped me make this down here. And I'm not really into drinking all that much, although I'm very looking forward to once a week with my buddy James, having a drink, celebrating what we did during the week, but also taking a look ahead to what's happening the week coming up. This is a really big year for me, 2023. I'll be talking about that a little bit more later, but very excited about what's going on. What's funny about this is my bar down here, but my sister, Jess, used to be a bartender, and she would always laugh when she saw the alcohol that I had down here. So my thing with alcohol, I just love the way that it looks. If you have like a lot of different colors, the way light looks kind of shining through the alcohol, I just think it looks so neat. But I don't really have a good representation of all of the essential alcohols that you need. Basically, if I ever go to, if I'm ever in a liquor store or anywhere, even if I'm at a grocery store, if I see a cool shaped bottle, or if I see a cool color, I'm like, oh my gosh, I need to have it. And so I think a lot of people know me that for that. So a lot of these are gifts where, like, you know, here's an alien, here's the skull, Dan Aykroyd's company. Here is, actually, it was funny, for my birthday last year, I got 3 of these electric guitar tequilas, I believe. And from 3 of my friends, and they didn't even plan this. They got me these 3 colors. It just happened that way, which is awesome. So much cool stuff. This is recent. I actually have a couple from my buddy John Niewhite. Look at this. This is Rush beer. And it's kind of cool that I don't drink beer because I actually just want to keep this on my shelf. I'm a big Rush fan. Super cool. So I just have a lot of really cool, rare, interesting things. And some of these aren't rare, but that's kind of how and what I collect. But once a week, I'll be having a candy drink. We may shake it up and do some different things throughout the weeks. But this is my home base, and I kind of like I like standing when I talk. I don't like sitting down. So a lot of people, when they do a live stream or a podcast, they're always sitting down, and they've always got that big fuzzy microphone in their face, and they're just kind of looking at you like this. And I think it kind of defeats the purpose of having video. But also, I just think better on my feet, and I like to move around. So I've got all my, this is obviously my laptop here that I'm running things through. This is a turntable where in the future I may have items on display, and this turns around and this lights up right here. Right now, Baby Yoda is hanging out with us over yonder. Very interested to see what happens with Mandalorian Season 3. Coming out soon. I've got my iPad right here that I can access if I need to look something up online real quick. And here I've got this additional area. If I'm ever doing some drawing or painting with you guys, I can turn on this funky light right here. I can put down some artwork, and I can draw away. This is actually something I got for Christmas, and you're supposed to do it with karaoke, but right now I've got it down here because wouldn't it be great to see if I even know how to turn this on? What if I ever had some interesting announcements? That would just be the cheesiest thing ever, right? If this is how I did it.
Well, it does have glowing lights, so it's anybody's guess.
I don't know. I need to know what you guys think. Microphone, cool or not cool for announcements? Anyone want to chime in on that? Anthony says, I just saw them. That was great. Someone needs to add some graphics over them, like a comic book. Pow, that would, oh man, I didn't even think of that. That would have been really cool for the for that. My mom says, cool. Yeah. For the microphone. Oh, it actually moves to my voice. So if I say a lot of things like a robot. All right. Anyway, super fun. Okay, so I've got that. I've got my little overhead right here, and this. How do I turn this off? Probably just hold this for a minute or three. Woohoo! All right. So I wanted to give a little tour of kind of what's going on down here in my creative playground. So first we will, you know what, we'll go this way first. So this over here, and then we'll go counterclockwise. This is a Star Wars pachinko machine. If you don't know what pachinko is, this is from Japan. And these are really big in Japan. When I was there, people were playing these everywhere and going crazy for them. So this is really cool, really fun, but you don't want to steal this from my house, because if you try, this is what happens. Wait. Oh, this is what happens.
主制御基盤上の遊戯開始スイッチを押してください。
So if you tried stealing this,
主制御基盤上の遊戯開始スイッチを押してください。
and that started happening, would you continue to?
主制御基盤上の遊戯開始スイッチを押してください。
Yeah, probably not. Okay. So then this over here, this is my mini warehouse. Make sure you're aware of how much of that, if you don't mind it, how much of that is left. This is, and I wish I would have had time to clean this a little bit more. Oh, I think I need to talk louder, so because the sound is coming from over there. So I'm sure they could hear that. So this is my warehouse, warehouse number 1, and it is a mini room that has my a lot of my different products and projects that I've done over the years. This is not all of them, but it is a lot of them. So there's different comic books. Afterburn, this is actually a comic book that is being turned into a movie now starring Gerard Butler, from what I understand. Here's you can draw Star Wars DVDs. There are all kinds of trading cards like Lord of the Rings Evolutions. So a lot of this looks like it's organized, but I'm usually like spotless organized. Right now it's kind of a mess, but this is where I kind of keep everything organized and take inventory. There's all kinds of everything from things like this to things like this to things like this.
We know all this stuff exists.
All kinds of stuff. You know what? I find out all the time. I see stuff online that has my art on it, and I didn't even know about it. So we'll have a better inventory in here when we actually have better sound. I'm sure a lot of people can't hear me as good in here at the moment. So this is kind of my hangout here. This right here is where James and I hang out. And James, have a seat. So, it might be cool at some point to have some conversations over here, but right now, because the audio is all at my laptop, I don't even know if you guys can hear me right now. Hopefully a little bit. I'm trying to talk as loud as I can.
God, we have to lob you.
Yeah, that, or I just got to figure out a better way. Yeah, probably. Yeah, that might be the way to do it. That might be the way. This over here.
This is the way.
This is a giant Buddha head, and this was on two of our giant, I think 11 foot tall from top to this. I think it was 11 feet tall, these giant statues that we had in Aladdin on two different sets, kind of made to look different each time. But this is my Frankenstein pinball machine. I still don't have the joke for it yet, but you play with two balls at once, and I know there's got to be a way that's clean, that's not really that racy or anything, but there's got to be a good joke with that I can say, because you play with two balls at once, two of them come out and right, Frankenstein. All right, over here, this is Darth Vader, and it's not working at the moment, I don't think. Let's see if it's working. No, that made a really funny sound. I don't think anyone can hear that right now. So that's not ready to rock and roll yet, but this is MBRA7, my collection of all things MBRA7. And these are just some of the video games that I grew up with that I love and enjoy. Oh, yeah. And then Mario Kart, because I love playing Mario Kart so much. I don't have time to play a lot of video games, but that is always fun. Is there ever a time that Mario Kart isn't a lot of fun? Over here, and by the way, my office and digital editing suite, my recording studio's over there. There's a sauna and a bathroom over there. I'll get to those in another episode, but I just wanted to give you guys a quick tour of things. Here's a multicade Popeye video game I grew up with. This is Carnival. In here is the mini movie theater, and I'll be sharing that with you guys sometime soon. And this is just like a little hangout area here. This is the Simpsons arcade. This is Boba Fett, who is way too tall to be wearing that costume. And then this in here, this is a quick, we'll do a more extensive tour later, but right now I'm not sure you guys can hear me. So maybe if I open this, it'll make things a little bit, my voice will be a little bit more clear. I'll talk a little bit louder so you guys can hear me better. But this right now, part of my studio has this temporary area where there's a lot of different t-shirts that I've designed. So like this is a Boba Fett shirt for Kids Gap. And then this is a Boba Fett shirt from Kohl's. There's the price tag. And then there's all kinds of stuff. This just came out recently. This is Super Rad from Fright Rags. It's my Zombie Wars shirt. Look at, they even have the logo on there and the size printed on there. But these are baseball tees, and they look awesome. I'm so happy with how these came out.
Fright Rags has really good like fabric quality.
The quality is just amazing. Super happy with those cats for sure. All kinds of stuff. Here's like what else do I got in here? Here's one of the shirts I designed for the band Poison a few years back. And look at this. This is how nice those guys are. This would never happen for any other artist, but they actually put, this is one of the shirts you could get on tour. They actually they let my signature be on there, and they put painted by mattbush.com. That's how nice those guys are. Those guys are so down to earth. They're from, they're Midwesterners too. They're from Pennsylvania, and they are just super cool cats. Every single one of them. I love those guys. Very cool. And so this is part of my painting studio here. There's just some random stuff sitting out right now. These are some of the paintings I did for the Stranger Things Art of the Upside Down book. There's a bunch here, and then this one was also turned into a limited edition print, licensed by Netflix. This is the, I think I only have one of these left, but this is the Mandalorian art print from Acme Archives. They sell this now at the Disney downtown store or something like that.
Oh, good.
And then they all come with a certificate of authenticity, which is super cool. So this is the studio here. I'm not sure anyone can hear me, so we'll just look in here real quick. I don't know how much cable you got. Not much. Okay, so we'll look at this another time once I have a longer cable or we figure this out. But I'm going to close this. So with that, let's go to some comments. Now that hopefully you guys can hear me, we'll go to some comments, and then I want to talk. I can't wait to chat about Magnum Opus. Attention, attention. The Empire is taking control of Cloud City. I don't know if that's in reference to, oh, it's probably to the microphone. Chantel, hello. I should have done a mic drop. Oh my gosh, that would have been great. If only my advertising for the Monster Truck Rally at the Silverdome, I should have done the monster truck, or you should have done the monster truck. And now that'd be great, right? You'd be good at that, James. We'll have to do that next time. Sunday. Awesome. All right. Oh, you can hear me. Good. Excellent. Yeah. Fright Rags is the layer. Yeah, Fright Rags, they always put out really great stuff. I think the thing about Fright Rags is it's a company that it's definitely fans of, mostly the horror genre is kind of what they deal with. And I've met a lot of the cats that work there, and they're all super into it. It's what they love. They are living their best life, really enjoying the products that they make, which is really cool. And Joseph has one of the original Zombie Wars tees. I love it. Awesome. That is so cool. I still wear mine and absolutely love them. Any projects or concept for the Mandalorian? I'm trying to think. There are so many Star Wars projects that are coming soon or are on hold, and I'm trying to think if any of them are Mandalorian. I do have some things coming out that are related to some Disney Plus Star Wars shows, but I don't know if I have anything new Mandalorian. I don't think so. I don't believe so. I have some things on hold that are for Mandalorian. I don't know if they'll see the light of day. We will find out. Casey says, this is my lovely girlfriend. She's amazing. And there you can see a cute picture of us together. She's so amazing. And let's see, is it possible to shop in the Matt Bush warehouse? It kind of is. Basically anything on the website, mattbushstore.com, is a lot of what's in the warehouse. Some of it, there's only a limited number of things left, and I'm nervous to put them online. I guess I could offer them at like a limited quantity, but I'm nervous if I put them on, I'll oversell them and then be like, oh, I'm so sorry. I know like it said that I had these available, but I ran out of them, because that has happened before.
You can count them out and put the quantity on there and just have it tick.
Mm-hmm. Hi, Brittany. I've been loving. I saw your recent art versus artist that you dropped. I think yesterday, and it was awesome. And I love that it wasn't the standard box squares. You've seen that, right, James? Where people do each year they do an art versus artist, and they have their face with all the stuff.
Oh, is that Brittany Boyd?
It is,
Oh,
absolutely.
She's great.
Yeah, she's super cool. Does really cool artwork, and I love that you had it set up so that it wasn't just the regular Brady Bunch squares, but it was like all these cool angles and stuff like that. And I was going to ask where you got that template, because that's how I want to show my stuff. I don't want boring Brady Bunch. I want the cool angles.
You don't need all those angles to show your stuff, Matt.
Thank you, James. David says he has so many questions about how I got all those products. There's a different story for each one. Some of them are products that if it's my own property, like my own comic book or my own movie, then usually I produce them myself or worked with a company. Sometimes in the case of something like the Fright Rags t-shirt, that is something where they reach out to me and they actually licensed Zombie Wars or Hollywood is Dead. They actually licensed the shirt from me, where I got paid for them to release the shirts. And I think I got a little bit of coin up front, and then for a percentage for each of the shirts that they sold. And then for Star Wars, it's a mixed bag. It really depends. Usually for most Star Wars products, I'm a hired gun. And if I'm lucky, usually it's in the contract that they'll send me a number of the products. So if I illustrate a book cover, like they might send me 10 books or something like that. A lot of times they don't follow through and everyone gets busy and I have to hunt people down just to get my comp copies. But in some cases, like for example, the Star Wars Celebration prints, a lot of times artists, we get to do the printing ourselves. So we get to choose the quality of paper if there's something that we think goes, really nice with the artwork. But usually for Star Wars, it's either Lucasfilm directly or it is one of the licensees that contacts me and hires me to create the artwork. And sometimes it's in the contract that they'll send me a certain number of the product, or sometimes I'll have the opportunity to buy the product at cost, and then I'm allowed to sell it on my website. So I get to buy it a little bit cheaper so that when I sell it at retail price, I'm at least making a little bit of money. I'm not making that much money off of it that way, but it's just kind of cool, that to have that stuff available on my website is kind of cool. And that way, if people want it signed or something like that, I can sign it. Aaron G says, show looks good, brother. Aaron G, miss you. Hope you had a wonderful Happy New Year. And Sam says, Matt, what up, Sam? Sam is rocking. And hopefully I never have to move these arcade games. Let me tell you, it was so difficult getting them downstairs in the basement. I cannot imagine what it would be like to ever get these things out of here. I can't ever imagine selling this house. Me and with the help of my dad, we have put so much into this house. It would be difficult to leave. I would have to find a house cooler than this one that's more to like my specifications and the things I enjoy.
Didn't even consider you had to get these down the stairs.
Yeah, and in fact, we had to take the door hinges off and the door frame off to get the Mario Karts. So it was so difficult getting them down. I can't imagine. I think if this house ever went up for sale, I mean, the games are just going to have to come with it for sure. I mean, I don't know that it would ever happen. I've only seen a house once that made me like, oh my gosh, this is a house I could potentially leave this one to move into. If you live in the area in southeastern Michigan, you may have heard of the Game of Thrones house. It's in Rochester Hills, Michigan, I believe. And It's not actually from Game of Thrones, but it's literally a castle. I'll be honest, I can't afford it.
Oh, the one on Adams Road.
It is.
Yeah.
Have you been there?
Yep.
You've been there? Have
Yeah.
you been in it?
Yeah.
How?
One of the guys who used to live there had a party that he wasn't supposed to, and so we all had to run real quick when someone found.
No way.
Yeah.
Dude, was it off the hook?
It was off the hook.
Oh my gosh! All right, dude. I need to hear more about this house after the show. But anyway, that's the one. It's got like a Playboy Mansion grotto in the basement, and it's got I think it has a library, but it has a moat. It has, I don't think it's a real drawbridge, but it looks like a drawbridge. And there's like winding, like it's got a gate to get in, but then there's a winding through like a forest to get to it and stuff. It's incredible. It's amazing. I can't afford it yet, but one day. But I can't ever imagine leaving this place, and the video games would have to stay. That is for sure. Yeah, how much something is comped, it really depends. That's a great question though, because a lot of times what I have experienced in my career is if in the contract, if it doesn't say you're getting any copies of the books or any copies of the prints, a lot of times just because it's not in the contract doesn't mean that it's not out of the question. So a lot of times if I have a contract and it doesn't say anything about it, I will say, hey, the contract looks good. Can I get a number of these action figures? Like, can I get, I mean, I'll take as many as they're willing to send, but, can I get, 10 of these or 20 of these? And sometimes they'll just say no. Sometimes they'll say, oh yeah, we should have put that in your contract, which is, if I didn't say anything, like it wouldn't have even been on the table. And then sometimes they'll say, oh yeah, sure. And then you never hear from them again. But so it really just depends. I got the collage template from the Photoshop mobile app. All right, Brittany, I will have to check that out. Ted is hanging out. Awesome. And Eli says, awesome. And dude, I can't even imagine me leaving that house. It's the best house ever. Oh, thanks a lot. I have seen a lot of houses, maybe Aaron meant to say there. I hear there are secret passages. Yes, there are. And actually, there are secret. Do I have secret passageways? I don't really have secret passageways, but I
secret if you talk about them.
Well, yeah, but I do have there are secret doors here. And I may share some with you guys in a future episode. Oh, look at this. Awesome. So Casey has shared on Facebook, for anyone who's watching on Facebook, if you want to see this incredible house, whether you live in Michigan or not, you have to see this house. It's called the Game of Thrones house. And I say that it's only, I think, $2.1 million, which I say only, but honestly, it's a steal. It's an absolute steal for that house. It's absolutely crazy. For those of you on Facebook, or if you're not on Facebook, you can see the link here, but you probably won't be able to write it down quick enough. But if you hop on to Facebook, you can click on that link right there. Awesome. Thank you for sharing that, Case. Winter is coming. Yeah. And then Castle House link on Zillow. Rock and roll. Nodding off. Wish I could say it. No, that's awesome. Thank you, Ted, for hanging out. Hope to see you again. Always ask in negotiations. Always. Absolutely. You never know unless you don't ask. And let me tell you, the squeaky wheel always gets the grease. Secret ladders even. Yeah. All right. So what I wanted to chat about now, this is what tonight's episode is all about. Tonight's episode, I want to talk about your Magnum Opus. So I have my own Magnum Opus. A lot of you know what it is, or you will know about it soon, very soon, in fact. And this, for me, this is going to be the year of this Magnum Opus. But I want to talk about yours. And the reason I want to talk about it is because I've always kind of had a Magnum Opus, although I didn't know what it was called. When I was in college, I definitely had a dream of something I wanted to do, and I didn't know exactly how it was going to play out. I'm not sure you ever do when you're making your Magnum Opus, if things turn out exactly the way you had planned. Sometimes it's better than you ever imagined. But I'll be honest, when I was in college, I probably didn't even know what the word Magnum Opus meant. And it's not a word I would have heard often. But we as creatives, whether you are a writer, a musician, a filmmaker, an artist, an animator, a lot of times we have what's called a Magnum Opus. And usually it's a body of work that's like, it's the most epic thing you've ever done, or it's what people know you for. And in some cases, you get to choose what that is. I mean, if you have a project that is your life's work, then it's a pretty safe bet that that's your Magnum Opus. Sometimes, though, we don't get to choose. So, for example, if you are a filmmaker like Steven Spielberg, I'm assuming he puts his all into every film that he makes, but not every film that he makes would even be close to be considered his Magnum Opus. But I think some of us can maybe agree on some of the tops, like what's the best one? What's the one that really is just the quintessential Spielberg movie? And in fact, I think I asked on my Facebook a week or two ago, I believe it was Spielberg's birthday, and I had a portrait of Spielberg I had illustrated. And most people, the consensus was Jaws. Most people said that was his quintessential movie. Jaws is great. I don't know that I would choose that. I mean, I would maybe say Raiders of the Lost Ark, although, and I know I'm in the minority here, but my favorite Indiana Jones movie is Temple of Doom. I would agree that that shot for shot, any way that you slice it, Raiders is the best movie. But just for me, on repeat viewings, Temple of Doom is my absolute favorite.
It has the boulder.
The boulder? That's Raiders has the boulder.
Oh, wow. Shows that
Temple of Doom has Short Round.
Does it also have Doc Ock?
Doc Ock? Doc Ock?
The actor who played Dr. Ock.
Oh no, that's Raiders of the Lost Ark. Sapito, played by, oh my gosh, why can't I remember? Oh my gosh, someone help me out in the comments. Doc Ock. Oh my gosh,
Alfred Molina.
Alfred Molina. Thank you. And John Rick says Temple of Doom is my favorite too. Of course, it's just such a thrill ride from beginning to end. Also, it takes place in India. So as a young kid, it was one of my first experiences that kind of, I just think that Hindu culture and the look of everything, when I was a kid, it kind of freaked me out a little bit because I had never seen anything like it. So and of course they kind of make like the thuggy cult, you know, they kind of make it look dark and evil, but
I've never seen Temple of Doom.
What?
I clearly have not seen this one.
Oh my gosh, James, in fact, we may be watching it tonight. That's cray.
Nice.
But anyway, yeah, it starts in Shanghai, and then the rest of the movie is in India, and it is just an incredible thrill ride. One of my favorite films of all time. Anyway, no, that's Raiders. I know. He apparently James needs to see Temple of Doom. Alfred Molina, absolutely. So anyway, and Temple of Doom has the raft sledding scene. I know. And if the sledding scene, the raft isn't enough, it's how they get to the sledding scene that's absolutely crazy. And it was before they had CGI. So they had to film all of that happening. Temple of Doom is a great sequel. I love it too. It's incredible. It's so great. Paul Michael Kane says, James, you have to hand in your geek card.
Don't think I had one.
Same with the Lost World. Yes, you do. You totally do.
Well, yeah, geeks, nerds, dorks, and there is a Venn diagram that I can show you.
Every time James comes over, he always asks me the same question. He always says, so Matt, have you watched what is it in the Wonder Beast?
Kipo and the Age of Wonder Beasts.
Kipo and the Age of Wonder Beasts. So I've watched the first episode or two with James. Has anyone else watched that? Is anyone else a fan besides James?
Cam.
Let us know in the comments. Yeah, the mine car chase, and the dinner scene is rough. It's crazy by today's standards that Raiders of the Lost Ark was a PG movie, and it's really crazy that Temple of Doom was a PG movie. And from what I understand, that was one of two movies that was responsible for the PG-13 rating was Temple of Doom. And yeah, and Temple of Doom is actually a prequel to Raiders. A lot of people don't know that, but it is a prequel. It takes place a year prior. That was back before prequels were really a thing. That I don't think they even had the term prequel back then, which is why I didn't even realize that probably until I was an adult. Or maybe I saw it when I was a kid and I thought it was a typo, like they had it wrong. Like they must have wrote in the wrong year because this is a year before Raiders. Part of the mine car chase was shot with a modified 35 millimeter SLR. And I'm assuming that was because they couldn't get a movie camera in those little tunnels as much. Ripping a heart out may change things. Yeah, I would say for sure. Fortune and glory, kid. Any theories on what the Dial of Destiny is? I don't think this is too spoilerish. I think most people are thinking it's a time travel device, the Dial of Destiny. I'm very interested to see Indiana Jones 5. And I actually have some, well, I won't talk about if I have announcements regarding that or not, but I am definitely interested to see that. Dial soap is what the Dial of Destiny. Maybe if you just weren't having good luck with soap and also not having good luck with the ladies because your hygiene just wasn't where it was at, I would say if you got some good old-fashioned Dial that was a game changer with your hygiene, then it would in fact be a Dial of Destiny. Yeah, that's great. There you go, product placement. Yeah. I know I said it's something dealing with the moon landing, story-wise. That is interesting. Man, it'll be interesting to see what goes on with all of that for sure. I want to bring it back real quick to your Magnum Opus. So, if you're a musician or in a band, you may have an album that is like a concept album that is like your life's work, and everything you've done in music leads up to this one work of art that is just your magnum opus, right? For Michelangelo, it was the Sistine Chapel. If you're a writer, it could be a body of work.
No, it's just Michelangelo historically had tried to bail on finishing the Sistine Chapel so many times because he hated having to stand there and just arch upwards. And I get it.
Mm-hmm.
But they kept tracking him down and dragging him back to the Sistine Chapel saying, you came this far, we're not letting you.
Oh yeah, and
leave.
he had to lay, and wasn't it like paint was going in his eyes and stuff? And oh my gosh.
He just tried to quit multiple times and they kept hunting him down because it was so important that he finished the Sistine Chapel.
Oh my gosh. Crazy. But when I was in college, for some reason, even though I didn't know the term magnum opus, I just had it in my head that I would have a project one day. There was all kinds of things that I wanted to do. I wanted to make graphic novels. I wanted to work on films. I wanted to create video games, which I have not created video games yet, but there was all kinds of things that I wanted to do. But for some reason, it was always in my head that I would have what I now know is a magnum opus. I always knew there would be a thing that I would be known for, or a thing that that would just be the big project of my life. And I'm curious what you guys think about that. I'm curious if any of you have a magnum opus that you guys are working on now, or maybe you have one that's already out and you're like, this is my big book that I wrote and I spent a lot of time on it and put more effort into it than anything else? Is it a film that you've made? Is it a work of art that you have recorded as a musician? What is it, or what do you want it to be? And if you haven't done it yet, where are you at? Or if you maybe have an idea of what it is, but you haven't started yet, what is step one? And what are you doing to move that dream forward? What is your magnum opus? I want to hear from y'all. Let's see. My friend made a poster of him called The Dialysis of Destiny. That's great. Hey there, Happy New Year and greetings from Germany. Guten Tag. So I want to hear from you guys. Do you guys have a magnum opus? And it doesn't even have to be anything like too big or too crazy, but is it like, is it something new that you're working on that you, that's like your next big thing? And what steps are you taking to move your magnum opus forward? Maybe I'll start with a little bit of, actually, we got a comment here that's talking about one. We have a two. All right. It's amazing that a lot of bands' first albums are a culmination of things they've worked on for years, but then many bands will progress heavily beyond that. I think maybe what you're saying is they won't progress heavily beyond that. That is really interesting, where a lot of bands, especially if they're bands that are either heavier and maybe darker, they have all these experiences like growing up or their teenage years or young adult years where they're fighting the system, or problems with significant others, or problems with, they have a day job that they're working. They have all these experiences where everything is so tough, but it's really good material that they can draw on to take their frustration and to put it into their art. And that's true of all art, not just music, by the way. So a lot of times you have a band's first album is so edgy and so it's got so much passion behind it. But then the band becomes successful and they're riding around in limos and they're getting flown around in jets and they live in mansions and they start wearing Gucci and the faux fur and all that stuff. And now it comes time for album number 2. And now what do they do? Because if they're singing about living in a dumpster, and then yet they're traveling around in these private jets and stuff, it's not gonna have the same truthfulness to it. It's probably not going to resonate with their audience. Their audience isn't going to feel it as much. So that's one way, or one reason why I think that that can happen a lot.
Looking at you, Green Day.
Green Day. I like Green Day.
International Super Hits was profound, yes. And then American Idiot was fine. And Do Not Forgive.
American Idiot was just fine. It was amazing.
Do Not Forgive, Boulevard of Broken Dreams.
I don't know. I love Green Day. I actually saw them for the first time. I had never seen them in concert before, I don't think. And I just saw them on the last Hella Mega tour. And I've always been a fan. But the other crazy thing about Green Day is their new record coming out is called 1972 because all 3 members of the band were born in 1972. Guess who else was born in 1972?
You?
So I'm looking forward to that big time. All right. My magnum opus for me is becoming a concept artist at Lucasfilm. Can I give any advices for a concept art portfolio? Gosh, I can. I would. If it's being a concept artist, there's lots of different kinds of art for working at Lucasfilm, for example. So I have not been a concept artist per se, not in the sense of like for films and stuff, but I have done concept art for the role-playing games, for example, where my job was to create characters and create the look of sometimes brand new aliens that weren't designed yet. So I got to dabble in the Star Wars universe and kind of create my own things. But that was for publishing, and publishing is kind of a whole different brand. If you're looking to get into concept art for video games and for film, then it's a much different road that you would be taking. So there's a number of ways to do it, and the best way that you can do it, if you want to work for Lucasfilm, is to go to lucasfilm.com, and somewhere on the main page there is a tab that says it's either help wanted or job opportunities or submission guidelines, something to that effect, career opportunities. And they will actually list, and at any given time that you go there, like even if you go there right now, usually every time I've gone there just to take a peek, because I sometimes have students asking about it, there's usually about 24 different jobs within the company of Lucasfilm that they have open. And I've actually seen before when they were looking for storyboard artists for some of their animated projects. I believe I've seen storyboard artists more than once. I have seen concept artists, I believe, and there were different things that they wanted, like you had to be proficient in different software. But they had all the deets of what they wanted to see, like in how they wanted your portfolio presented. So if your dream is to work for Lucasfilm doing concept art, that is one of the first places I would check out for sure. Then you want to definitely follow any artists that do that kind of work. And maybe you already are following Doug Chiang, Ryan Church, Jay Schuster, Eric Timmons, all of these cool cats over the years that have done concept art. You definitely want to follow them, because a lot of times, especially if they're on YouTube, they are usually giving gold on things that you should do or things that you should have. I've got some tips, and I know some people in the game, but I have not done actual concept art for the actual films myself. So anything you hear from me on that would just kind of be through third person, you know. But that would be the place I would start, is check out that website. You'll see right away what they're looking for, when jobs are actually available. And that's the way to do it. It's crazy now that we have the world in our fingertips, where we can literally pull out our phones right now, and in less than 10 seconds, we can find out if there's any jobs available at Lucasfilm for the area we're looking into. When I was getting into this industry, we did not have the power in our back pocket, and you couldn't just go to the library and research what do you put in your portfolio to get hired at Lucas. Like, there was no way to know that, something specific like that. So it's just incredible. It's just amazing to me what kind of resources we have, and it's just never been easier to get on board something like that. So that's what I would suggest. And obviously having some Star Wars work in your portfolio would be good, but you probably want to have some other things too. You probably want to have some work where there are some familiar things, like familiar characters and such, but also some new designs that show that you can create things out of your head. And I would say in particular, for something like concept design, it's about the ability to create things out of your head. So as much as it's cool, a lot of the work that I do is usually reference based. If it's like a poster design or a book cover, it's characters that already exist. And then sometimes I have to make up things a little bit. If there's a book that has a story and maybe it's main characters that you know, but maybe there's something about where they are, or there's another character introduced where I will have to come up with something new. But for the most part, I'm usually provided all of the information that I would need to put things together. For my own project, my own Magnum Opus, which we'll be talking about maybe a little bit later today and in the future, that was a totally different thing, and it was thrilling to create my own characters and worlds out of my own head. And it's something I have mucho respect for, because I enjoy it, but I'm definitely not a master in that category, but had so much fun with it. Absolutely love it. All right. Hello from, I hope I'm not botching this, Gabuda. Hello. Korn is a good example of a band that started off really raw and angst-filled, and though they became MTV's biggest rock band for a bit, they managed to keep some darkness though. Considering, you know what, a buddy of mine, I'm not the biggest Korn fan in the world, but a buddy of mine had an album, and I think it was an unreleased album that he got on what was that thing, James, that people used to download stuff off of? Napster, maybe?
Napster,
Napster, right.
LimeWire.
So he had this CD, and it was all covers that Korn did. And I've never been a huge Korn fan, but I really liked all the covers. And so I made a point to look out for the CD. I didn't know that it was an unreleased thing. So I've never been able to find it. I wasn't able to find it on the internet. And it was like, man, it was some of the coolest covers of the songs that they did. I can't even remember what any of them were, but it was pretty rad. I gotta say. So Gabuda says, my magnum opus is building a brand for myself in fantasy art, novels, and making art that speaks to people and reignites artistic discourse among the general public. Wow, that is awesome, man. You know exactly what your mission is. That is fantastic. Glad to hear that. That is awesome. Next up, Mike chimes in, and it's awesome to hear about people that actually pursue their magnum opus, let alone discover what that means. Discovery is what it's all about. Mike, I couldn't agree more. And I actually have on the inside of my arm here, and I have it here so that I can remember it, because sometimes I forget, but the journey is the reward. And that's the thing, is that a lot of times we kind of get confused with it, where we're always looking at the destiny. We're always looking at the destination. And I know this sounds like a downer, but the ultimate destination is when you die. And it isn't until later that you start to realize the gift isn't the destination. The gift is the journey. And it's the opportunity to create you know what I was thinking earlier. I'm so glad you brought this up, Mike, because this is one of the things I wanted to talk about. And I was forgetting to talk about it. And that's really the cool thing. So I've got my own magnum opus that's really soon. You're going to be hearing a lot about it. And like, I'm really excited about the destination, but I have to say I'm having the time of my life, and I am enjoying it so much. And I'm trying to remember that this is the magic part. This is the golden years. This is, there's still a lot of work to do, but I'm doing it, and I'm living the dream. And I've had this idea, this project that I've been working on for years, and I'm finally at a point where I'm going to be able to share it with y'alls, and I'm going to be able to share it with the world. And in the end, it's not just that I did it and I completed it and I've got this thing that I can put on a mantle and say, see what I did. It's the journey. It's the opportunity that I was able to do it in the first place. And each step along the way, the trials, the tribulations, the triumphs, the downfalls, the falling on your face flat, whatever it is. But the fact that you pick yourself up and you keep going, you roll with the punches, and you get to what is real.
That Hong Kong award on your mantle is pretty much a good testament of what you did.
Yeah. The Hong Kong Business Awards. That was crazy. Mark Cooper says, hey, what up? What is up? So Brittany Voigt says, I want to make a Lego anime series. I want to make an animated band like Gorillaz. Oh, that would be cool. I'm an artist and a saxophonist. Brittany, I had no idea that you were a saxophonist. How did I not know that all this time? I completed step 1 by completing college. Awesome. Absolutely. But I don't know what step 2 is. So, man, there's a lot of ways. And that's kind of the thing about your magnum opus. There is kind of where you are right now. If you think of that as like the letter A, just as a starting point. And then there's the letter Z, and how do you get there? And it's never just, whether you want it to be or not, it's never just a straight line, but there are usually, there's probably more than 1,000. There are usually 1,000 ways that you can get to that destination and take that journey, which one is right for you? That's the big question. And it's different for all of us. We all have a different kind of journey that we want to take anyway, or a different destination that we want to get to. And then we all work differently. We all have different personalities. We all have different work ethics. We all have different ways that we go about doing everything. But it's a little bit different. But the best thing you can do is everything begins with 1 foot forward. So a little bit of research, a little bit of, even if you can take 15 minutes a day to say, you know what, this is me time, this is Magnum Opus time, and I'm going to turn off my phone, or maybe just put your phone, unless you're doing the research on your phone. But take some time and research things that are similar to what you are interested in or what you want to do. Has anyone else done anything similar? What's their story? What are some things you can do? And maybe you don't have enough time. Maybe there's a couple things you want to research, but you're like, oh my gosh, that's a lot. I don't have time to do that all today. Okay, well, even taking the time to write those down, and then maybe that's all you do on day one. But the fact that you did that is 1 foot forward. The next day you do something else. And maybe there's 3 things you want to research, but you only have time to research 1. Well, do it. And don't say, well, I don't have time to research all 3, so I'm not going to do any of them. Start with 1, and then the next day 2, and the next day 3. And then after that, maybe the next day is just saying, okay, of those 3, where is there a place I want to go with that? Or maybe there's something else I need to, the best thing you can do is just keep moving it forward. And it's all about the journey. So you're in the right place, but you just want to move it forward from there. PMK, I'm so curious what you have to say about this. As a creative, my magnum opus is ever evolving. So before I even get to the rest of this, and maybe this is what he's going to say, but Paul Michael Caine is someone that I have collaborated with. I don't even know if I want to say how many years, because that'll be aging us, but I've known Paul maybe more than half my life. And I first met Paul when I was living in Los Angeles, and we were communicating through snail mail, if you can believe that. Before email may have been a thing, but I certainly didn't have email at that point. And we communicated through snail mail. And we had, I think the first project we collaborated on was something that we were just both working on. And Paul reached out, and we've been inseparable since. And we don't get together as often as we can, because we live in different states. But he is such a dear friend and such a creative, just amazing person. It would be great if Paul lived close to me, or if I lived close to him. Oh my gosh, the amazing projects we would do. It would be bananas. Okay. So Paul, from his graphic design to his photography to his writing, it's hard to nail down, which I think is a good thing. Absolutely. And Paul is an incredible graphic designer, an incredible writer, which I think at first I met him through, he was a writer, professionally a graphic designer and a writer. And then a little bit later, he started getting into photography, and just, man, his career just really took off with his amazing photography. But I think that's true of a lot of us artists, is we're usually not one-dimensional, like we're only a photographer or we're only a musician. Usually, if you are artistic and if you enjoy expressing yourself, usually you have more than one tricks up your sleeve, for sure. I know I enjoy creating music, and obviously movies, writing, art, pretty much all of them. If there's a way to express yourself, I'm trying to think if there's any I'm not into. There might be specific things, like I'm not
Underwater basket weaving.
I was going to say, well, okay, underwater basket weaving, or like ballet dancing maybe is not something I have much interest in for myself. But I used to take breakdance lessons. I used to be a breakdancer, James.
I can see it.
Oh my gosh.
I can see it now.
I had the moves. We should link up. I'm sort of in that land. Absolutely. Absolutely. My MO, Bible logical, scripture through the eyes of natural history, an art solo show. Wow, this is interesting. Devo thoughts that I eventually want to publish as a graphic cabinet of scripture-based curiosities. Wow, this is so interesting. Currently scripting out reels, pairing scripted thoughts with art making process for socials and working on larger pieces for local art festivals, gallery ops. But I love my fandom and I'm working on a parallel project that mines for Easter eggs of faith in a galaxy far, far away amongst other places. Xavier, that is awesome. That is really, really cool. It really sounds like like you have such a specific thing that you want to do, and I've never heard of this before. So I think you would definitely have an audience for that too, which is fantastic. That's great. I want to hear about this as you move forward with that. That's super cool. The more, I think that's the thing too for your Magnum Opus, the more you can get specific about what you want to do, I think the more direction you have. If you've got a Magnum Opus that's just like, I want to make the craziest rock album ever. Okay. But if you have a theme, like, okay, I want to do a rock concept album, it's going to deal with this. It's going to be very edgy with this kind of sound. I want the lyrics to reflect this, but also dabble in a little bit of this. There's going to be a story that features that, but it carries through. And by the end of the album, you know what I'm saying? Like if you have something, the more specific you can start getting, I think that's when things really start to build and start to, the wheels start to turn. Super interesting. I've tried applying for concept graphic design jobs to get my foot in the door as an artist, but haven't had any luck getting hired. Keep on keeping on. Sometimes if you find that what you're doing isn't working, Brittany, sometimes change it up and see if there's a way you can either repackage what you have or maybe have some different things. Another thing is when you're trying to get work, a great thing you can do is ask politely when you're going through the interview process, hey, what are you looking for? Or is there anything I saw that you didn't like? Or if it's a place that you want to work, you definitely want to find out what they're looking for, because they're the ones that are going to be paying the paycheck. So you definitely want to get in on that. And anytime you can get a critique, especially from a potential employer, I know when I was a lot younger, there were times I had portfolio critiques. And I remember always being upset when I didn't hear what I wanted, which what I wanted to hear is, oh my gosh, your work is so amazing. We're going to give you a job right now. In fact, we're going to give you an advance. We're also going to give you a brand new car just to get you started. And we've got a nice furnished apartment we're going to move you right into so you don't have to live in your parents' basement anymore. That's what I wanted to hear. I never heard that, but that's what I wanted. And so I was always disappointed when they would say things like, you know what? These comic panels are good. It looks like it tells a story. I'm not seeing any backgrounds though. So honestly, I have no idea where this is taking place. All I heard was, we're not giving you a job. So I was just fuming instead of really listening to what they were saying. It's gold. The fact that they're taking the time to give you a critique, it's absolute gold. Really, you need to listen to what they're saying, because a lot of times, if you take those tips to heart and you come back having made those changes, a lot of times companies that said no at first, if they see your work again and they see that you actually listened to what they said and made those changes, like that's huge. And they may be like, oh my gosh, like we weren't interested in their work at all. But the fact that they took the time to listen to what we said and they took those tips to heart and they made it a priority to make those changes, that's the kind of person we like working with. Like, oh my gosh, that's great. So, stay with it. The one other thing I wanted to say, and I give this advice a lot. I wish this was from me, but it's from my good friend, Rick Veers. And the best advice he has is 2 words. It's 2. And those 2 words are don't quit. There are, that I know of, there are no greater words for making it in this industry, because I can tell you there are people that have, there's people that have made it, there are people that are still trying, and then there's people that have not made it. And then they go on and do other things, and then they just, it's, that industry, it's all, whatever, they have, whatever to say about it. But the truth be told, for anyone who hasn't made it and has declared that they just didn't work out for them, they haven't made it, the truth of the matter is they quit. They gave up. At some point they said, I guess it's not for me, and they gave up. Had they stayed with it, had they kept going, what would have happened? Would things have worked out for them? Maybe not. But if they were trying and still giving it their all, and after things aren't working this way, all right, change it up, try it again this way. If they kept the passion and they kept trying, I feel like sooner or later, luck has to turn in your favor, and things have to work out. And just even the butterfly effect alone of putting all the feelers out there, at some point, those things are going to come back around and work in your favor. So great advice from Rick Veers. Don't quit. Keep at it. And things will work out in your favor. Thanks for the great advice, Matt. I'm collecting art books from the Star Wars movies and so inspired by Doug Chiang and his team efforts. Absolutely. Annabelle, hello. Happy New Year. I think I'm still finding it. Haven't drawn in a while, but I have friends who are pushing me to start again by asking for commissions. Awesome. So far, some of my best friends gave me an idea how to draw my panda mascot, which is awesome. I think I believe I see that in your icon, which is adorable. Into many anime characters to start and go from there. So I've done Princess Mononoke,
Love it.
Chihiro from Spirited Away,
Love
and
it.
Sophie from Howl's Moving Castle, which is my favorite. Bakugo from My Hero Academia. So far, we'll see how it goes. Hope to be a character illustrator. That is awesome. Very cool. And I love your logo. I love the Panda Bell. Oh my gosh, love it.
Oh.
Absolutely. Hello, all the way from Portugal. Wow, that is awesome. I'm a biologist and love drawing. I have to say my magnum opus would be to do scientific illustration one day. Also really love your content. Thank you so much. Wow, that is really cool. And I know here, I would assume so in other countries as well, but if you are going into illustration, really, if you're going into illustration, you need to do what you love and not just go where the money is, because if you're just going where the money is, yeah, you might be able to make some money doing it, but if your heart isn't into it, you're just going to lose out in the end to people that are passionate about that area. So what you really need to do is just follow your heart. That's the advice I always give. But obviously, because you're a biologist, you would really be into scientific illustration, which is great. And I know here in the States, for people that are illustrators, you may not realize this, but medical illustration, and a lot of it is kind of done digital and with CGI, but still there is a big market in medical illustration, I know for sure. And those artists make bank. They make really, really good money. Some of the highest paid illustration is medical illustration. I would assume scientific illustration would be the same thing. Very cool. Thank you for chiming in. Right now I have two. Publicly, it's the Breakfast Club variant for Kevin Smith's Quick Stops 4. No way. That is awesome. Oh, that is so cool. I can't wait to see that. Personally, it's a commission I did for Kevin, but Ultimate is my creator own that's coming. That is cool. Awesome. I can't wait. I want to see that the Breakfast Club variant for Kevin Smith's Quick Stops 4. I actually saw Kevin Smith recently when he came and did the Clerks Convenience Tour. It was at the Fillmore here in Detroit, and it was a lot of fun. It was really cool, and it was an incredible turnout. I believe it was sold out. And I'm a huge Kevin Smith fan, but most of what I know of Kevin Smith, other than seeing his films, usually in person, it's at like San Diego Comic-Con and stuff where, he's always got sold out standing room only, convention hall kind of stuff. But I never realized his audience here in Michigan, in Detroit, was that diehard and that faithful. And it was really cool to see. That was awesome.
Yeah, we love Kevin Smith.
Yeah. I want to be an illustrator, and I think I'm getting there, but I'm over 30 and afraid I may not get there. You know what? It is never too old, and 30 is young. I would give anything to be 30. I know a lot of traditional, but not a lot about digital tools. Is that necessary? To a degree, it is, and where it is necessary, for sure, is when you're sending files to companies, it's got to be digital. So the final file that you're sending them, at the very least, it's got to be a JPEG, right? And they may want it RGB or CMYK, depending on whether it's for print or for screen. So a lot of the work that I do is still, sometimes it's all traditional, although even if it's all traditional, I'm always either scanning it in or more likely than not taking a photo of it. I'll be honest, sometimes I'm just using my iPhone to take a photo of it. And then I'm always cleaning it up digitally, playing with the levels, getting the contrast nice, sometimes steering the colors a certain way. And even if the work was created by hand, I just love the options of cleaning up dust spots or being able to steer things just to get it just nice and crisp, which I never really had those options before digital. So it's definitely your friend. Is it necessary? It really just depends. What is necessary is creating the best art you can. And at the end of the day, good art is good art. Good design is good design. Bad art is bad art, and bad design is bad design. So a lot of times people think, I think especially like in the 90s when a lot of the whole digital revolution was kind of taking off, a lot of times people confused if you created something digital, there was kind of this, oh, it's digital. You used Photoshop to create that. Ooh, you know what I mean? But if it's bad artwork, and there was a little bit of an alluring factor to that at first. Some of that maybe is true now with AI, although it seems like artists aren't fans of AI. The rest of the world is fans of AI. So that, man, we should do an AI episode, because my take on AI is I kind of feel the same way as everyone else, but my way to approach it, I think, and the way to deal with it is different than I think a lot of artists are. So we need to do that in a future episode.
All right, that'll be a controversial episode.
It'll be a very controversial episode, but we'll get to that. Let's not get into the AI thing yet. But
I'll talk about work.
I want to talk about work. So for digital tools, they're great and they're super helpful, but if you're not creating your best work digital, then it's probably not where you want to go. Think of it this way. Think of it as a consumer. If you saw artwork that was amazing and it wasn't digital, would you see something amazing, be like, wow, that's so beautiful? That's watercolor? And I thought it was cool, but I guess it's not cool now. I mean, no, like if it's beautiful, right? And the same is true if you're normally a fan of traditional art, and if you're normally a fan of like oil paintings and stuff. If you saw something digital that was beautiful, and then someone said, yeah, I did that on Procreate on my iPad Pro, would you look at it again and say, what? Oh, I thought it was cool, but that's digital? And then they like, no, I mean, if it's good, it is good. The same is true of design. The tool is not what's important. At the end of the day, good is good, you know?
That's how I feel about that painted illustration of me that you did.
Oh yeah.
Every time I walk by it in the hallway, I'm like, hey, handsome.
It's in your hallway?
Yeah.
Oh, awesome. So that's where it's at. I would say to a degree, you need to make sure you're with the times, and you need to be active on social media. You need to be able to deliver the goods digitally, even if you're not creating them digitally. Having at least minimal abilities to use a program like Photoshop to clean up your work or to make changes. So even if I do something traditional, as soon as I have to make changes, almost always I'll just do the changes digital, because it's quicker and easier, and I don't want to repaint something that I already did. All right. My biggest fear is that I'm starting out too late. There is no such thing. My life was literally thrown off track by things outside of my control. My creativity is the only place of my identity that I have. And you know what? It's, I mean, I'm very lucky that I've been working on my Magnum Opus for 13 years now. Maybe longer than that if you consider like when I was in college kind of starting to develop things, but really the last 13 years is when I've been working on it and making it a priority. And the age that I'm at now, which I don't want to talk about my age, I wish I was younger. I wish I was 25.
I feel that.
And my Magnum Opus is coming out now. What? And I got my whole career ahead of me. But I'm older than I would like to be. But again, it's the journey. It's the process. It's not the destination. So whatever age you're at right now, the J90s before you said that they're 30, you know what? You could be 40, you could be 50. I've had students that were in their 60s and in their 70s that that are doing it and loving it. And the reason they're doing it, they might feel like maybe it's a little too late for their career, but they're doing it anyway just because it's something they've always wanted to do and they've never had the chance, and they're finally putting their foot down and they are loving it. So it's not too late at all. What's that?
Look at Alan Rickman. He didn't start until his 40s, and he blew up.
Alan Rickman. That's right.
Everyone loves Alan Rickman.
Absolutely. R.I.P. Yeah, it's never too late. It's the journey, like the band. Don't stop believing. Absolutely, Mike. What was the last artistic piece I've seen in cinema or on Netflix, Prime, etc.? I saw. What did I see? Oh gosh. Oh, I saw Glass Onion.
Okay.
The Knives Out sequel. The first third and the second third, incredibly entertaining, and I was mesmerized by it. Then the last third, I was bored. I was absolutely bored. It's worth watching just for the first 2/3, and you might watch it and be like, oh my God, I loved all of it. But I love the first third, the second third, and then it's structured in a unique way. Although I have to give credit to Rian Johnson, as much as I'm personally not a fan of what he did with Star Wars, The Last Jedi, as a filmmaker in general, I think he's fantastic. And the thing that I do applaud him for, even though Glass Onion at the end kind of fell flat for me, it's a bizarre story structure that in the end, it didn't work for me, but I applaud him for doing something different and taking a chance. And I think too many times in movies, they're just formula. And it's just, you kind of like, by the time you're halfway through the movie, you kind of can figure out where it's going just because of the formula.
Terry's amazing at that.
Hey, what's up, Kristen Merlot? What is shaken? I want to hear all about what you are doing and if you are still working on that cool project. Thanks for taking the time to hear our MOs, Matt. Have you found time to sustainably work on yours as you're working on a ton of other pressing work? Absolutely. And in the next week, you are going to hear a lot about my Magnum Opus. I can't wait to share that with you guys. And also some other projects that are non-Magnum Opus that are coming out this year as well. So absolutely. This is great, Matt, but I got to get back to recording. Absolutely. Can't wait to hear the whole talk as I came in the middle. Thanks for doing this. Happy New Year. And yeah, get back to recording. And I'll tell you what, especially if it's working on your Magnum Opus, I can't be upset if you're jetting to work on your own Magnum Opus. Absolutely. Get started. Anthony LaFata says, my Magnum Opus was to work for Playboy, but they're just a shell of their former self. So, Anthony, I'm curious if that has anything to do with Hef's passing, or does that have anything to do with magazines just kind of not being as relevant anymore as any kind of articles or news or centerfolds? People would probably just get online now, right? I'm assuming.
Wouldn't know.
So I'm curious why that is. Now I want to work on more movie productions doing photography. Awesome. So when you say photography, do you mean like a still photographer on set, or do you mean like a director of photography with video camera? Art is art. I agree. Brian Cranston had a long career as a bit part guy. He absolutely did before getting something like Breaking Bad. And I remember thinking, the dad from Malcolm in the Middle, now he's the guy you want in your projects. Absolutely. Harrison Ford actually started that way too. And I believe 12 years before he was in Star Wars, he was a bit actor. He was on the show Kung Fu a couple times with David Carradine, playing different people that would get like punched and like knocked over and stuff. And the reason he got the part for Star Wars, he was actually, because he couldn't pay the bills with acting, he was doing what is it called? Not construction, but he was doing, what is it called when you build stuff out of wood? Carpentry. Yes, thank you. He was doing carpentry on houses. And as the story goes, I believe he got a gig in Modesto, California, went to the house, and it was George Lucas's house. And he actually had a part in George Lucas's American Graffiti movie, not a main part, but just a kind of a real quick part driving a hot rod. So obviously George Lucas knew who he was. He was doing work on George Lucas's house, and George Lucas was doing read-through auditions for Star Wars, and he wanted Harrison Ford to read opposite these other actors, not thinking he was going to give Harrison Ford a part, but he just needed someone, knew he was an actor. Hey, while you're here, I don't know if he threw him a couple extra bucks or not, but anyway, George Lucas really liked how he was reading for Han Solo. So the rest is history. Now I want to work for more movie productions doing photography. Well, it really has to do with the digital age. Magazines have died down, like you said, and most girls can provide what they're doing directly instead of having to shoot for Playboy, making them obsolete. So I assume like, and I'll be honest, I'll be absolutely honest. I don't even know what OnlyFans is, but is that where anyone can have their own like website or something like that where they do, I'm not sure how that works, to be honest, but I'm assuming, yeah, that would be huge competition. In a way, though, it's kind of cool, not just for that industry, but for artists and for everyone. We just live in a world now where we can kind of take matters into our own hands. We're eliminating the middle people, and we're able to kind of build our own empires, which is cool. Bryan Cranston was Snizzard in Power Rangers also. I have the figure that just came out. Cabin Tree. That's right. Harrison Ford. OF OnlyFans can be used for a multitude of things, but it's primarily used by women. Yes, Playboy did launch their own competing site, though. So there you have it. All right. So, wow, this was a great first episode. And thank you guys for chiming in about your Magnum Opus. James, do you have any final thoughts? Do you have a Magnum Opus? I'm curious, as an actor, what do you think about the subject?
Well,
and turn around flip it around, say hello.
Oh, geez. A lot of points have already been made, but you're never too old. Typically, I mean, I've been at this I started out doing stunt execution and stand-ins and doubles for a lot of things, and I did theater for at least 15 years. And after I did a stint in Miss Saigon, my resume was picked up and I was contacted, and they said, well, we're bringing this movie that's going to be a modern take on Red Dawn. And I see here that you have been a Vietnamese soldier. Come on down and be a Chinese soldier. Same thing, we'll pay you. And at the time I said, yeah, let's do that. And then from that point, that was supposed to make or break the industry in Michigan before the incentives got taken away. And then Real Steel, several other films came through Detroit, and a lot of the same people that I was on with Red Dawn. We all just kind of kept going, and that's how you stay relevant. You just keep going. You don't quit. And because after a while, a few of us dropped out, and they went on to do other things. But when I realized I tore a ligament on one set before, I said, well, what can I do now?
That wasn't my set, was it? Oh,
wait, I don't want to talk about work. But I realized, what else can I do? And at the same time, people said, have you ever done radio, or have you ever done voiceovers? Because you seem to have a voice that could do it.
Oh.
And I started dabbling in that a little bit, and it's pretty much been touch and go between acting, voiceovers, helping Matt wherever I can, because I truly believe in what he's doing. And you guys have no idea how amazing that's going to be, but it's going to blow up. And I don't know, it's going to be good to see that part of the journey too. I think I have like a little part somewhere in there. I don't know.
Awesome. All right. So Tom Savage chimes in. And now I say something. Mine is to work on the next Matt Bush movie. Awesome. Also going to bed, want to say hi. What up, Tom? Thank you for chiming in. Have me on next time. Awesome. Great talk. Thank you so much. Rock and roll. So thank you guys for tuning in, for hanging out with me on this Sunday night. Things are going to be a lot different next week. This place is going to look a little bit different, and I have something that I'll be chatting about, and there is something dropping. If you've been following that countdown, there is a certain something that is dropping on Tuesday, and I can't wait for you guys to see it. So my jaw. Hopefully that'll be true with everyone. And there is so much happening this year. Literally, there is going to be something almost every day. So I hope you guys are following me on all my social media platforms. Thank you guys so much. And I can't wait to share with you guys my Magnum Opus. And it's not even finished yet, but it starts. I get to start sharing it this week. 2023 is going to be the year of 3477. Can't wait. All right. So I'm going to pour another one of these with James, and we are going to hang out. What are we talking? Oh, Temple of Doom. We're going to talk about that. Maybe watch that. But anyway, thank you guys for tuning in. And I can't wait to do it again next week. And boy, do I have some interesting things to share with you guys next week. Until then, hasta la Winnebago.
going to say the